Thank you. Good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for coming at short notice. I've called for an emergency media briefing on the latest developments in the country. That's the latest security developments. My media briefing will cover three main areas. One, the attack on our position in Keju County of Central Equatoria State. I'll give you detailed information on the clashes we have had with SPLIO in Nigeria County, day by day, what had happened, so that you are in a better picture. Then the third area will cover an allegation of bribery that was leveled against our two commanders in Western Equatoria State. And lastly, it will be under any other business. If you have any issues that you would like to bring to my attention, then I'll be glad to cover it. Let me start with the latest attack. On February 9th, that was yesterday, at around 6 a.m. in the morning, Nasrab was attacked our position at Jalmo village, Jalmo Boma of Kongapo to Payam, Keju County of Central Equatoria State. The surprise attack on our position left 3 servicemen dead. 2 civilians were shot and wounded. 2 children from the same family were thrown into a house that was on fire. They were burned beyond recognition. I have their photos with me. They were sent to me using WhatsApp. I'd like to share them. Then the surrounding villages that were surrounding the army barrack, they were burned to ashes. A number of civilians were displaced. The aspect of displacement of civilians will be given to you by the area commissioner. But I have pictures of some of the civilians that were displaced. That was yesterday. That's the latest. In the past, you would agree with me that we have been receiving a lot of reports of ambushes, attacks, mostly around Kubrabo area, when we had embarked on the removal of illegal checkpoints and roadblocks. These are some of the reports that we have been getting from time to time, but I was told that I must emphasize on this because they had been persistent. So let me go through that the security situation in Tambora, Nigeria County, Bo, Wow in Western Bahar Ghazal. You know the two regions, the two states, Western Bahar Ghazal, Western Equatoria and Western Bahar Ghazal are both governed by SPLIO nominated governors. For Western Bahar Ghazal, it is Mr. Primo. For Western Equatoria, is Mr. Alfred Coutinho. All of you would agree with me that last year we had the Governors Forum, the 8th Governors Forum. The most important thing in that forum was that we had governance cluster that was chaired by the first Vice President, Dr. Yak. And one of the resolutions reached at the governance forum was the removal of the roadblocks, illegal roadblocks, and checkpoints all over the country. The resolutions were passed to His Excellency the President, then they were approved. The organized forces were ordered to embark on the removal of the roadblocks. At the time the implementation started, the current Chief of Defense Forces was in Imli, along with the current IGP. By then, they were not yet elevated to their current positions. Our Chief of Defense Forces at the time was the Chief of Operations. So he had gone there to implement the order and started implementation. All the way from Nomli up to Juba here, there were no resistance experienced. Mostly because the area where the checkpoints were removed and the roadblocks is entirely under the control of the government. So we were dealing with our own security forces, and compliance was not a problem. Problem started when we started moving from Yambio to Tambara to Najiro to Kubribo, which borders Western Bahar al-Ghazal. It is a point of departure from Western Equatoria to Western Bahar al-Ghazal. So on the first incident that our security forces on the 2nd of January 2025, one platoon from 6th Infantry Division and two platoons from East Africa Regional Force. You remember we had the one that was sent to Congo, but came back after the peacekeepers were ordered out by the Congolese government. We came and stationed them in Western Equatoria. So we brought them to come and help in the process of removal of checkpoints. So the mission on the removal of checkpoints started on the 4th of January. They arrived on the 5th, and the platoons were deployed. On the 14th, we had a title and cruiser that was carrying our forces between Bo and Najiro. That force fell into ambush. That was the first time now we started taking casualties, because the first engagement was on the 11th of January. We never took casualties. The first time we had started taking casualties was on the 14th, between Bo and Najiro. One person was killed, 3 were wounded. We managed to break through and arrived the next day, which was on the 15th. On the 15th again, our forces were patrolling from Bo to our area. On their way to Wow, they also were waylaid by IO. Then we had one soldier that was shot and wounded. On the 19th, the commander of Division 6, who is of course responsible for security in Western Equatoria State, moved to continue with the implementation. By 22nd, he reached an area called Rafael. He was ambushed, 2 were wounded. However, he succeeded to break through and continue to war on the same day. On the 29th to 30th, our position at Bo was attacked twice on the same day, but our forces were able to repel the attackers with the support from regional force. In that engagement, 1 serviceman was shot and wounded. On the 2nd, we had a title and cruiser that was delivering food rations. It successfully delivered food. On its way back, it was attacked, and as a result, 3 servicemen were killed, 11 others were wounded. So this was the sequence of events until 2 days ago. So we gave a summary of all these incidences from the first date up to on Saturday. The figures we have on those that we had lost. We lost a total of 4. We lost a total of 4, and 18 were shot and wounded in different engagements, like the way I had outlined. Okay, like the way I had outlined. So these are comprehensive development on the operations that we have been hearing, and mostly we have been concentrating on the road. We were able to make a breakthrough all the way from Western Equatoria to Western Bahar al-Ghazal. Then on Thursday last week, if you look at the calendar, on Thursday last week, Now we started with the same operation from Wow. On our way to Juba County, we were ambushed by forces loyal to Bolwek. Brigadier General Bolwek had Ngabridge. We also took casualties. The intention was to continue with the same exercise from Western Bahr al-Ghazal to Warab, specifically using Wow, Juriba Road, and Tony. So we basically met some resistance. And it is centering on what? IO forces not accepting removal of illegal roadblocks at checkpoints. And it has been like that because those who have been manning the checkpoints for all those years have been benefiting by extorting money from road users. And I have a detailed report on different checkpoints, plus the amount of money charged against each vehicle. The bigger the vehicle, the more charges it attracts. So you could tell that those who have been manning the checkpoints have been benefiting financially from these malpractices, and therefore they were finding it difficult for them to comply with the order. And because it is a presidential order that was endorsed by the presidency, that includes the commander-in-chief of SPLIO, who were the front runner in leading the governance cluster, and the chairman of the commander-in-chief of SPLIO, we strongly feel that the presidential orders are binding. They were approved by the presidency, and anybody who is resisting, we consider that person is undermining the presidency, including the first vice president. So we are determined to continue with the operation regardless of the difficulties we are facing. Now I'll go back a little bit, which will be under Western Equatorial State. Closely linked to the operations on the removal of roadblocks, we came across a very long WhatsApp message. It was sent by WhatsApp, and it was a very serious allegation against two senior generals from SSPDF, one against Major General James Akenyadip, that's the commander of 6th Infantry Division, and Brigadier General James Nando, the one in charge of 2nd Mobile Infantry Brigade. The person that is being implicated is Right Honorable Nunu Kumba, that's the Speaker of National Transitional Assembly. I'm not defending her. I'm coming in to clear our site where we are being implicated. The allegation goes that it gives the background information on some of the problems that some politicians are having in Western Equatoria State. Basically an allegation that there is a political problem between Right Honorable Speaker and the governor of the state. And it continues to say that because there is a problem between the two political leaders, Honorable Nunu decided to bribe SSPDF commanders in the area. And to be specific, it was alleged that she had parted ways with $32,000, gave that bribe General Akenyadip with that money so that he could attack SPLIO positions. The same thing that also she gave General Nando $5,000 so that he goes to Nigeria County, he start training and start attacking SPLIO positions. Now, I had started with the issue of removal of the roadblocks to give you a clear distinction between the allegation and the operations. Just shortly before we go, you came, or while some of you were waiting here, I got in touch with the accused officers to hear their side of the story on the allegation of bribery. With the information I got from them and the approval from the command of SSPDF, I would like to take this opportunity to dismiss such allegations against our officers that I've mentioned. General Lual never had an opportunity of meeting Right Honorable Nunu since 2023. The last time they met at a function was 2023. And if anybody has proof, evidence beyond any reasonable doubt, which is disputing our version of events, that our officer was not bribed, should present such evidence showing our two officers were bribed by Honorable. The author of the letter used a fake name, but we were able to know the author that is working very hard to tarnish our image. In our law, in the Constitution, we have cybercrime laws, which gives the person that is being defamed the right to take legal action. The same thing, we also have capacity and ability to find out who exactly authored the document. We are not in a position to name that person, to name and shame that person, but we have received information indicating the true identity of the person that made such allegations to tarnish the image of our two respected generals. You can clearly see that the orders on the implementation of removal of roadblocks was done without any intention of targeting any party. It was done so that we could have freedom of movement as people of South Sudan, to ensure that commercial vehicles move without delays, without hindrance, without unnecessary levies that are being levied by corrupt officials on the roads. We would like to give a very strong warning to those who are outside there, tarnishing the image of the National Army, that once we get at you, once we get all of you, we'll take all measures against you, including legal action. And when a legal action is taken against an individual that is defaming, the rewards or the compensation, the financial compensation, could really be a big burden on whoever is defaming. So we'd like to, we are non-partisan. We have, we do not, it is not our business to get involved in party politics. Right Honorable Nunu Kumba is the head of the Legislative Assembly, one of the arms of the government. Whenever we are ordered, we are not ordered by civilians. Our chain of command is very clear. When we are ordered by the chief, by the commander-in-chief, it goes through the established chain of command. Comes to our chief of defense forces, it follows the right chains of command, and we act based on that. All right? So it is total absurd to say that our officers were bribed so that they could attack IO positions. The position that, the area that were causing problems, they are not areas outside of the road. They are areas along the road. And SPLIO soldiers that are in their respective areas, that we have never gone to their areas to attack them. If you collaborate all these reports, if you put them together, you will know that all the reports in Western Equatorial and Western Bahar al-Ghazal to do with SPLA soldiers, SPLIO soldiers manning the roads, and they are refusing the removal of the checkpoints. We have not gone even a meter beyond the road. We have been concentrating on the road. So these are some of the urgent things that I wanted to bring to your attention. Right Honorable Nunu Kumba, I have the right to defend herself. I'm not defending her. I'm on air only to clean the image of our commanders that were accused. Thank you. Yes.
Yes, sir.